Chances are you've seen more than a few bees in your lifetime, but how much do you really know about them? Bees are flying insects. They all have a head, thorax, and abdomen. Their bodies are covered in an exoskeleton and small hairs. On the head, bees have antennae that they can use for sensing, 3 small, simple eyes called ocelli, and a pair of compound eyes. Bees are able to see UV light, and in fact, some flowers have ultraviolet nectar guides that direct bees to the nectar. The head also contains mandibles and a tongue. The thorax holds the 3 pairs of legs and 2 pairs of wings. The abdomen houses internal organs and, depending on the type of bee, may have a stinger. Some bees are eusocial. This means that they live in colonies with a reproductive division of labor, cooperative care of young, and overlapping generations. In a colony like this, there is the queen, who is large, fertile, and produces eggs. Here she is now, in the hive. There are also female worker bees that perform tasks like foraging for food, caring for young, and protecting the colony. Lastly, there are male drones who seek to mate with queens of a different colony. You've probably heard about bumblebees and honeybees before, but did you know that over 90% of bee species are actually solitary bees? There is an incredible amount of diversity among bees. In fact, there are over 20,000 species. So why are bees so important? They play a huge role in pollination, meaning that they transfer pollen grains from the male anthers of one flower to the female stigma of another. A lot of crops are dependent on them, which means humans are dependent on them too. Some species, like the honeybees, also produce honey and beeswax. Unfortunately, bee populations are in trouble from various threats. Commercial agriculture presents a few problems. Bees obtain their nutrition from nectar and pollen, sometimes foraging on multiple species of plants for optimal results. Fields with only one crop often cannot provide bees with satisfactory nutrients. Many solitary bees, in particular, are specialists that forage on a small set of plants. When native plants are replaced with fields of crops, these bees often cannot forage there anymore. Additionally, these solitary bees don't have shared or stored resources or long foraging periods like some of the more resilient social bees. Also, pesticides used in commercial agriculture can negatively affect bees. They can reduce growth rates, impair their ability to sense odors, and disrupt homing behavior, making it hard for them to find their way back to their colony. Bee diseases and parasites like varroa mites, which infect honeybees, and Crithidia bombi, which infect bumblebees, are also causing bee decline. Bees are an incredibly important species, but they are in trouble.
I spent this semester working in Dr. Adam Smith's lab with bumblebees. Some plants produce toxic alkaloids in order to reduce herbivory. These toxins end up in the nectar too, and if ingested by bees, can make them sick. We wanted to determine if bees can learn to recognize and avoid the toxic nectar. It is also possible that bees purposefully ingest toxic nectar to self-medicate or to rid themselves of parasites like Crithidia bombi. The toxic nectar is shown here in green, while regular nectar is clear. You can see how the toxic nectar makes bees sick. This one is already moving slower and stumbling around. Much of my time was spent at a computer screen coding videos, but I also got to work hands-on with the bees. I learned how to put them to sleep with ice in order to put them back in the hive and how to mark them. My favorite part, however, was the bee vacuum, which is exactly what it sounds like. Thanks for listening. I hope you learned something new about bees today.